The computer mouse has arrived, because for 20 points in winter of Series 28, you can go ahead and get yourself the Lotus 211. It is the 211, right? I am driving the right car. Yeah, I am. Cool. This thing is pushing 252 brake horsepower, 179 foot-pounds of torque, and weighs 1,642 pounds with a 1.8 litre engine. Now there's been quite a fair few variants of this thing. We've had the 111, this thing the 211, there is also a Lotus 311 in the game as well, but today we're going to be focusing on this pretty cool looking racing machine, because it's got a really nice wing at the back, a bit of a roll cage already, and going to the interior, there's not much for a window screen, there's a couple of buttons and a few dials and the world's tiniest rearview mirror. But now let's go ahead and take a listen to that 1.8 litre engine. So here we are now in the upgrade shop. We've got nothing for aero and appearance because it's already on the car. We're going to conversion. What do we have? We'll go to engine swaps first, and we've got a 3.2 litre inline 6, we've got a 1.6 litre inline 4 turbo rally, and a racing 3 litre V8, which we'll come back to in just a bit. You can also make this thing all-wheel drive if you want, but that immediately takes it up into S1, so we're keeping it rear-wheel drive for now. This thing starts out stock on sport tyres, which is pretty cool, but we can go ahead and throw it on semi-slicks as well if we want to. And we can also go ahead and make them wider, but doing so, again, will take this thing up into S1, which is cool, but we don't want to do that just yet. There's also quite a lot of engine upgrades to this thing. Let's take a listen to... Oh wait, this thing's supercharged? Oh, now we're getting to the good bit. So all I've done is throw on a clutch, and that has made our car a little bit lighter, but now we're going over to the paint shop to see what we can do. Going over to the paint shop, we of course have nothing in advance, which is a little bit of a shame, and going over to normal manufacturer paints, we've got ourselves 1, 2, 3, 4 different colours. The green looks cool, the black looks cool, and honestly I really like the orange as well, but I kind of want to stick with the yellow this time, just to make it stand out a bit. You know, I think my favourite season for this playlist is definitely winter. And in case you're wondering, for 40 points this season, you can get yourself the MG6 X-Power, but I've done a video on that already, feel free to check it out. So the Lotus 211 is actually a pretty interesting car indeed. I believe the engine of this thing might have been from a Toyota, but feel free to go ahead and correct me in the comments if I'm wrong on that one. But it is a pretty cool looking little race car, and I can't wait to put it around the track. So let's go and do that. And away we go. We are once again up against 11 other different vehicles, and we've got to try and push this thing to its very limits to try and make sure that this thing reaches first place. Although we are also racing apparently against Forza Motorsport 2 right there. A lot of these cars have got a lot more power than we have, so we've got to make sure we can make the most of the little corners and stuff that this thing has got, or this thing can be really good at, this track has got. I'm doing terrible sort of mesh of words, but you get the idea. We've got to be able to turn good, because that's what's going to win us this race. Because not only that, apparently if we look behind us, we're also racing against Need for Speed Most Wanted, as well as Motorsport 2. What a race this is turning out to be. So far this car seems to be handling the track very, very well indeed, although there's a slight little bit of understeer, but come off the power, sort of correct it, go back on, and it is dealt with pretty much instantly, which is honestly fantastic, and definitely worth the having the aero on it, which is probably, I think, what is contributing to this thing turning and driving so well. But I'm looking forward to being able to put this thing up in S1 and go and see what we can do with that. But we've got to get to the end of this race first and try and stay off of balls, although we're not doing a very good job of that. Brake. Oh, I did. That's fair. 95%, we've got one more turn to go. The finish line is just there. Everybody else is absolutely miles behind. They didn't even stand a chance against the tiny little Lotus 211 because we have finished with a very nice first place and a time of 2 minutes 9 seconds. Now, back to the studio. Or to you and I, that's just the upgrade shop. But now we're going to go back over to conversion. First thing we're doing is of course all-wheel drive, and second thing we're doing is grabbing that 3 litre V8 racing engine and slapping in some good old twin turbos and making this thing a drag build. I can hear many angry people knocking at my door already. Anyway, moving swiftly on. We're also doing off-road suspension because, like I said last time, everybody does ask me why, and it's because if you tune it well enough, it does give your car a little bit of an advantage, but you have to be really good at tuning, as where I am definitely not. So here we are now at 1,648 pounds, 774 brake horsepower, and S2924. This could get interesting. And by interesting, I mean mildly terrifying. And now all I have to do is sit here and tune the entire car. We're going to be here a while, so I'll be right back. And the good news is the aero on this thing is of course tunable, because you can't put any Forza aero on there, because obviously, well, this thing comes with aero from stock, but it is pretty nice that we're able to tune it a little bit, because, well, that is going to make our next job a lot easier. Okay, here we are now over at the edge of the festival, so go ahead and get a little bit of a wheelie check. Do we get anything? No, not really, but hopefully this thing is definitely going to be speedy. Alright, here we are now over at the edge of the drag strip, and in 3, 2, where is that going? Anyway, away we go. Let's go ahead and see what we can get out of this thing. Hopefully it's something pretty cool. There's a Hoonigan Escort V2 over there, which is also pretty cool, but we are much quicker. Now let's see, what do we get through the camera? We get ourselves 204.67, and off the end of the runway we've got 224, which is not too bad at all, and we've got ourselves some decent brakes for once. You know what? I think that's 2 videos in a row that we've had good brakes. Finally. So here we are now back over at the upgrade shop. We're going to go ahead and slap on some semi-slick tyres, and we're also going to go ahead and change our suspension back. Where is it? There it is, under platform and handling. There we go, back onto stock suspension, and let's go ahead and see what we can get for a top speed. But before we do that, here's this week's Forzathon shop. We've got the Alfa Romeo TZ2, which is honestly a pretty cool. We've got the Elf hat, the Elf outfit, the Ferrari F40, the Jingle Bells car horn, which sounds a bit like this. I was hoping there's going to be the rest as well. We've got the Horizon Super Wheel Spin alongside the Horizon regular wheel spin as well. Right, out to the motorway we go. Although while I think about it, you can go ahead also and not only purchase this for yourself, but you can go ahead and send a car to your friends as well as part of the Horizon Secret Santa. Okay, here we are now over at the edge of the motorway. We're on launch control and away we go. Let's go ahead and see what sort of speed we get out of this thing. Honestly, I'm hoping it's going to be very speedy because this thing is incredibly light. And with all our arrows set to speed, hopefully that will give us a bit of an advantage as well. And out of the speed zone we go at 247.71. We still have the speed camera and downhill still to go. Hopefully I'm going to estimate this thing might get around 252, 255, which would honestly be pretty cool indeed. Speaking of our speed camera, is here, there it is, 251.94, going downhill, 253, 254, any more? 255, there we go, right at the top end of my estimate of what this thing was going to get, which is honestly pretty cool indeed. And now, all the way to the festival, because we're going to go ahead and throw a race car sideways. Also called drifting to you and I. Okay, drift zone time, here we go, let's throw in the little Lotus and see what we get out of this thing, because this thing seems to be quite a drift machine so far, and we get ourselves 39,206 points on the very first attempt, which is honestly pretty cool, but I wonder if we can do better going back the other way, and well, there's only one way to find out. And here we go, going back the other way. Let's go ahead, keep it sideways, keep it slideways, so to speak, and let's see, what do we get? Do we get any better? Nope, we actually get slightly worse, 38,313 points, but still a pretty good result. However, for now, that is it for this video on the Lotus 211. It's definitely worth picking up, because I've got a feeling this thing really could be quite an online race machine up in S1, provided you know how to tune it and drive it properly. Seriously, it took me 3 attempts in the trial just to get this car. In the meantime, thank you very much for watching. I'll go ahead and see you all in the next one. Like, share, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. And yeah, thanks for watching. Tech out. See ya. And to space with the Lotus.